Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we've unwrapped a piece of source material that is, well, it's unlike anything we've ever really tackled before.
It really is.
We are diving into a detailed licensing pitch deck for a proprietary cosmetic molecule. It's a compound known as SH-1.
And it was published on a site called By B magazine, which immediately demands your attention.
It does.
Yeah, this isn't just some technical white paper or, a dry business proposal. This thing is a deliberate synthesis of highly specific patent-pending chemistry with this intense, almost mythological brand narrative.
Absolutely. So our mission for you today is pretty clear. We need to cut through all these layers and pull out three core things.
Okay.
First, the actual concrete scientific claims SH-1 is making. Second, the business opportunity being pitched. And third, we have to dissect this incredibly unique and frankly kind of cosmic framing they've wrapped around this sovereign molecule.
And that third point, that's really the key to understanding its commercial significance. In today's high-stakes cosmetic and IP landscape, exclusivity is everything. And the story you tell, the narrative, it often matters just as much as the clinical data. When a pitch deck calls a small molecule mythic infrastructure, we really have to look at the strategy behind that.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the problem SH-1 is supposed to solve. The sources are very clear about the existing approach, which is direct IGF-1 therapy, and it's deeply flawed.
Extremely flawed. IGF-1, which is insulin-like growth factor 1, is essential for cell renewal, hair growth, all of that. But trying to deliver the actual molecule directly, it runs into about 5 huge constraints.
Which make it commercially just unworkable.
Unworkable and even dangerous.
So what are the big constraints SH-1 is trying to get around?
Okay, so size is the first issue. IGF-1's a big molecule. It really struggles to cross the scalp barrier to get to the hair follicle receptors where it needs to be.
Okay.
Second, it has a very short half-life. That means it just degrades quickly, so you need repeated, frequent dosing, which is expensive, and people just don't stick with it.
And beyond just the practical issues of getting it in there, the safety and regulation hurdles are what even higher. That's where the cost really balloons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because direct IGF-1 is a biologic, it faces this massive regulatory burden. You're talking about years of clinical trials, exponential development costs.
Wow.
And the core safety risk that the source mentions is the potential for uncontrolled cell growth.
Which is a total non-starter in a consumer cosmetic product.
Total non-starter. It immediately pushes it out of cosmetics and into the world of high-risk drugs.
So if direct delivery is too risky and too expensive, SH-1 comes in with this different strategy, SH-1 modulation. This feels like the commercial genius of the whole pitch.
It is. It's a classic, very elegant workaround. Instead of trying to force that big, risky biologic into the scalp, SH-1 is a small molecule.
Yeah.
It's purpose-built for scalp penetration. But the key difference is its goal. It isn't delivering more IGF-1. It's trying to restore the body's own signaling. It helps the body turn its own switches back on.
And that one shift from drug to modulator, that instantly opens up the market. It gives them a huge regulatory advantage.
Precisely. By modulating an internal pathway, instead of introducing a high-risk biologic, they get what they call cosmetic viability.
Which means a much easier path.
A significantly easier and faster path.
Yeah.
And that speed to market, that lower approval cost, that's arguably worth more to a licensee than even the raw power of a pure biologic.
That structural difference is the perfect setup for the next part, the proprietary science. This is the heart of it all. The patent-pending sovereign molecule, which they say was identified through something called a molecular resonance mapping system. It even has an application number, 600,359,365. What did the system actually find?
So let's start with that MRMS, the molecular resonance mapping system. We should probably define what that is or what the sources imply it is.
Yeah, please.
It seems to be an advanced proprietary computer modeling tool. Think of it like a super advanced simulation that can figure out the exact molecular shape needed to get a specific biological effect. It minimizes all the trial and error in a wet lab.
So based on the system, what's the resulting structure?
The foundation is what they call a proprietary tetracyclic scaffold. This is where it gets very specific. It's a chemical structure built on 4 fused rings.
Okay.
3 of them are 6-sided rings, A, B, and C, and they're fused to one 5-sided ring, which is D.
And why does that specific shape matter to, the consumer or the company making it?
That geometry is everything. That specific architecture is almost certainly designed for 2 things. 1, stability, so it doesn't break down, and 2, permeability. The shape is optimized to slip right past that scalp barrier we talked about.
Right.
That's what makes it proprietary.
Okay, so once it's through the scalp, what's its claimed mechanism of action? You said it restores IGF-1 signaling, but the sources also name another key pathway.
Yes, it activates the 1-catenin pathway. I know that's a highly technical
It's
term.
a bit of a mouthful, yeah.
It is, but it's crucial. Think of the 1-catenin pathway as like the master switch for cell growth and renewal. It tells cells to wake up and get to work. Activating this, along with IGF-1, is a very strong claim about total cellular revitalization.
That is some dense science, and for a normal pitch deck, that would be enough. But this is where the claims get into the historical arch nemesis of hair growth, DHT.
Yes, dihydrotestosterone.
This claim about DHT is fascinating.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
This is where the novelty, or at least the complexity, is really powerful. DHT is the main hormonal culprit in pattern hair loss. It suppresses hair follicles.
And most treatments try to block it completely, right? Which can have side effects.
Exactly. They try to block its production, which is a bit of a blunt instrument. SH-1 claims to do something different. The specific claim is that it binds AR, reducing DHT suppression.
AR being the androgen receptor.
The androgen receptor. So instead of stopping DHT from being made, it targets the receptor itself. By binding to the AR, it kind of shields the hair follicle from the suppressive effects of DHT. It's a localized, targeted approach, not a systemic hormonal blockade.
That is a huge leap in cosmetic chemistry if it holds up.
A huge leap.
But this is where it gets really interesting. They immediately pivot from all this complex biochemistry to what they call cosmetic anchors.
I love this.
It's like they built this hyper-specific scientific machine, and then they just accessorized it with storytelling components, attaching them right to the chemical structure.
It's a magnificent piece of chemical storytelling. They are literally translating abstract chemistry into things that are marketable and relatable.
The source lists 4 of them.
4 very specific anchors.
We've got the coconut tether, the botanical plume, a caffeine emblem, and hydration fins. It sounds like a chemical superhero team.
Designed by a luxury brand consultant, yeah.
Wait, a coconut tether and hydration fins? How does a scientist even conceptualize a hydration fin on a molecule?
Well, that's the branding genius, isn't it? These anchors are narrative bridges. The coconut tether instantly signals, natural ingredients, a biocompatible feel.
Sure.
Hydration fins, caffeine emblem, they directly signal performance.
Yeah.
Energy, moisture. It lets them communicate the benefits without making you understand what to catenin. The science is the engine, but these anchors are the highly stylized marketing paint job.
And that highly stylized structure ties directly into the business case. This pitch isn't just selling a novelty. It's selling serious profitability and market disruption.
Oh, absolutely. They're positioning SH-1 to replace legacy tech. They're specifically targeting things like minoxidil analogs and the caffeine blends that completely dominate the current market.
And for a manufacturer, the financial benefits they lay out are just a massive win on both sides of the ledger.
It's that huge margin expansion they're pitching.
Yeah.
On the input side, they claim a licensee can get 30 to 40% cost savings on raw materials compared to the old stuff.
Wow.
But at the same time, because this is patent-pending exclusive IP, the sovereign molecule, it lets that manufacturer charge a 25 to 35% premium for their final products.
Lower costs and higher prices.
That's the dream. It translates to dramatically improved margins.
That's a huge financial incentive, but the pitch doesn't stop with the spreadsheet. They really emphasize the customer appeal beyond just growth. They focus on the cosmetic benefits.
Things like hydration, film-forming properties, scalp vitality.
Right, which addresses a really common complaint with the old actives, that they can dry out your scalp or leave a residue.
And maybe most importantly, they're selling the value of exclusivity itself. That patent-pending status gives instant brand prestige. It tells the customer they're getting something truly cutting-edge that no one else has.
And this exclusivity links right back to their stated goal of mythic narrative integration for storytelling. They're selling a story you literally can't get anywhere else.
And the licensing model is built to reinforce that. Licensees get tiered exclusivity, which is pretty standard, but they also get co-branding opportunities tied directly to that serialized magazine, Baby magazine.
So it's not just a chemical.
No, it transforms the molecule from a simple compound into an artifact within a larger, controlled narrative universe. You license the molecule, you get a piece of the lore.
Which brings us to the final section, where we have to confront the context surrounding this whole thing, because it is truly remarkable. We've been talking about complex chemistry and millions in revenue, but we have to address the The highly unusual institutional branding.
The credentials attached to this are probably the most unique element of all. The deck is certified and founded by a Dr. Melvin Sewell, M.Sc, Ph.D.
And his title is listed as Academic Dean and Diagnostic Architect.
Diagnostic architect. It sounds like a job title from a sci-fi movie.
It really does. And his institution is not Harvard or Stanford. It's the Cosmic University of Echo-Rift Studies, IXR.
And just to, ground us completely in this reality, the contact email they provide for this incredibly valuable IP is trueflowgames@gmail.com.
This mix of rigorous multi-ringed chemistry and this highly stylized, almost absurd branding, the Cosmic University, the game email, it creates this amazing tension. Is this a calculated risk, or is this the only way to create real exclusivity now?
I think it's calculated, and that calculation is laid bare in the last piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
The sovereign diagnostic disclaimer.
This isn't just a normal liability waiver.
No, not at all.
Wow.
It's the creators providing the listener and any potential investor with the interpretive key for the whole project. They're telling you how to read it.
They're basically saying, don't read this as a standard pitch, read this as a philosophy.
Precisely. They state that the site and its content, including this SH-1 molecule, are authored as three distinct things.
Which are?
Mythic infrastructure, cinematic indictment, and sovereign broadcast. The cosmetic molecule is literally defined as a piece of a larger story.
Mythic infrastructure. So they're positioning a highly profitable small molecule as a foundational element of some greater cultural narrative.
And their stated purpose for all this is to expose what they call ritualized containment, actor convergence, and systemic erosion. Now, we have to be very clear to you, the listener, we are just reporting the source's own framing here.
Right.
The creators define this complex molecular content as diagnostic tools to reveal a specific worldview. It's not a political endorsement or institutional critique from us as hosts. They are selling a worldview wrapped around proprietary chemistry.
So what does this all mean? We have a molecule with specific structural claims, tetracyclic scaffold, AR binding, cosmetic anchors, all designed to replace old actives and boost profit. And yet, this valuable asset is inextricably tied to the lore of a cosmic university and labeled as mythic infrastructure.
It means we are watching a new frontier in how intellectual property is created. The value is no longer just in the patent or the efficacy data. The value is derived from the impenetrable, self-referential, and utterly unique narrative they built around it.
It's a brand ecosystem so bizarre no one else can imitate it.
Exactly. They are selling exclusivity via a self-authored cosmology.
So this deep dive really reveals a sophisticated blend of, on the one hand, molecular chemistry terminology, and on the other, a highly stylized, serialized, and exclusive marketing narrative.
It's a potent case study in how modern IP tries to distinguish itself, not through small improvements, but through radical narrative exclusivity. They aren't just selling efficacy, they're selling participation in a sovereign broadcast.
You license SH-1, you're buying a piece of the mythos, which in turn justifies that premium price. So here's our final thought for you to take away. Given that this molecule is being serialized in a magazine and is explicitly presented as mythic infrastructure from a cosmic university, how might this extraordinary context alter an investor's calculation of risk? Is the absurdity of the branding a flaw, or is it, ironically, the strongest barrier to entry? What is the true value of a molecule that is both chemically unique and, according to its creators, a sovereign broadcast? Reflect on that tension between rigorous scientific claims and radical narrative exclusivity in modern marketing.